right, we're here and we're going to start doing some analysis to make our decisions. I hope you have your worksheet open or printed out is even better. Remember when you're taking notes to not only write in the correct answer, but how we got it, where we pulled the numbers from. Okay, so we are a company. We are making a product A, and we have our cost information here. Notice here that it says that these are our costs at 80% of capacity. So that's what we normally run at. That gives us a little bit of extra room in case something goes wrong. Okay, so we are going to sell 80,000 units for $800,000. If I do a quick calculation here, I can see that I am selling for $10 a unit. Okay, I've got my costs. So my cost per unit for direct materials is $1.65. Direct labor is $3. Variable overhead is $1.50 per unit, and fixed overhead is $2.25 a unit. So my total product cost per unit is $8.40. I also have variable selling expense of 50 cents per unit and fixed selling of 75 cents per unit. It also tells me that my variable selling expense is based on commissions of 5% of sales dollars. Okay, so I've got all of my costs. And I'm chugging along happy as a clam. And now I've got a new customer and they want to buy 10,000 units for $8 a unit. And I normally sell for $10 a unit. So my first inclination is tell them to go pound sand. But before I do that, I'm going to maybe ask a few questions and do some calculations and see if this will work. So first of all, if this customer is in my regular market, then I definitely don't want to sell for $8 a unit because that would taint my current market. My current customers are paying $10 a unit. They're presumably happy to do so. And if they found out I'm selling for $8 a unit to someone else, they might be pretty upset. There's also, just super quick, there's a clause that is called Most Favored Nations or something like that. I can't think of the exact name right now. But basically, a customer could have a clause that says, you have to give me your best price. So if you sell to anyone for less, then you have to match that with me. So we definitely, first of all, want to make sure that none of our existing sales contracts have that clause. Otherwise, we could be in a pickle. But let's say this customer is in a totally different location. Let's say we only sell in North America and this customer's in Brazil. So it's not going to taint our existing pool. Or maybe let's say most of our customers buy in batches of 200, 300 units, and this customer wants to buy 10,000. Then that would be a justification for giving them a lower price if we can do it. So at first glance, we say, well, our product cost is $8.40. And if I add my selling and admin, that adds up to $9.65. So there is no way in heck that I can sell for $8 a unit. I'll be losing $1.65 per unit. But here's the thing. At our current level of production at 80%, we are already covering all of our fixed costs. So if we were to sell beyond this 80,000 units, we actually don't need to cover any more fixed costs, right? Because our fixed costs aren't going to go up just because we've sold more product, right? That's what variable does. That's not what fixed does. Fixed stays fixed. So if we can cover all of our variable costs at $8 a unit, then it might make sense to do this. So let's take a look. So if we did this, our sales would be 10,000 units times $8 a unit. Oh, it would be awesome if this was formatted, wouldn't it? Okay, let's do our little formatting here. Okay, so $80,000. Our direct materials would be 10,000 times here, direct materials. Our direct labor would be 10,000 times $3 a unit. Our variable overhead would be 10,000, number of units we're selling, times $1.50 a unit. And our variable selling would be our sales times 0.05. Now you're like, hey, why did you do that instead of multiplying by the variable selling expense per unit? Because we're selling at a lower cost. Remember, variable selling is commission based. It's 5% of sales. So if we sell for $8 a unit, then our variable selling expense per unit is only 40 cents, not 50 cents, because we're selling it for less and it's based on sales dollars. All right, so our total variable costs are, something's gone wrong there, hasn't it? I think I have an extra zero. That's better. Our total variable costs are $65,500. So if we took this order, assuming we've already covered all of our fixed costs with the first $80,000 we sold, then our contribution margin from this sale would be $14,500. So actually, we would like to take this, as long as it's not going to taint our existing pool of customers, then this actually is going to make sense for us. All right. Now we have a new customer that wishes to buy 20,000 units for $750 a unit. So let's do the same thing. So we do 20,000 times 7.5. And we have direct material, which is 20,000 times $1.65. Direct labor, which is 20,000 times $3. And variable overhead, which is 20,000 times $1.50. And variable selling, which is 20,000 times, for variable selling, I want to just take my sales dollars times 0.05%. Okay, so then my variable costs are going to be 130,500, and my profit, or my contribution margin, I should say, is $150,000 in sales minus my variable cost of 130,500, and I get a contribution margin of 19,500. So again, I might look at this and say, okay, well, as long as it doesn't taint our existing pool, no problem, let's take the order. But let's stop and consider. We are at 80,000 units at 80% of capacity, which means that if we take this additional order, we will need to make 80,000 plus 20,000, 100,000 units, which will put us at 100% of capacity. We do not ever want to commit our factory to 100% of capacity. And the reason for that is because if there's a holiday, if there's a worker strike, if a machine breaks down, if there's a delay in getting our materials, we have absolutely no room to recover. And at that point, we're going to start shipping out late orders, and our customers are going to be super mad at us. So this order, I actually would not take. I wouldn't take this because it's going to put me at capacity, or right at capacity. I probably need to have a policy, at what's the maximum level I'd be willing to go. 95% of capacity, 90% of capacity. I need to decide as a company what that is. And then maybe I go back to the customer and say, hey, I can't do 20,000, but I could do 15,000 or 10,000, right? And it just depends on what I want. So that's where we have to be looking at financial and non-financial factors. All right, so what's the lowest price we can sell for? All right, the lowest price we can sell for is going to be our costs. So our cost per unit, in fact, let me just do this down here. So our variable product costs are $1.65 for direct materials, plus $3 for direct labor, plus $1.50 for variable overhead. So it's $6.15. Okay. So then I've got my variable sales, which is 15% of the sales price, which means that I can sell, the lowest price I want to sell for is my cost times 1.05, because whatever I sell it for, 5% of that's going to have to go for my selling expenses. So 645.75, so really 646 is the lowest that I would be willing to sell for. And at that point, I'd break even, so I probably wouldn't sell for that low. But if they came to me for 650 and I could do it, I might do it. If someone came at $7, that would be even more attractive. But this is as low as I can go. Any lower than this, and I'm going to actually lose money on it. All right. So hopefully that helps you understand how we might make a decision about selling additional units at a lower price. In our next video, on the next page of your worksheet, we're going to be doing scrap or rework decisions. So I will